Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a different type of video. We're going to be looking at a great new product that just came out from my really dear friend Michael Palmisano. This is the Teleport. It's a looper pedal that allows you to record tracks to jam along with. It also allows you to share those tracks and performances with other players all around the world by connecting to the Teleport app. So we're going to be diving into this in a little bit, but I also want to use this as a springboard for a broader conversation about how I use loopers in my own practice and just my own practice routine in general, sort of a update on my current practice routine. So I'm going to get this thing hooked up and then let's get into it. So the Teleport is a really well thought out and very intuitive device. I'm not particularly tech savvy, and I was able to pull this thing out and get it up and running pretty quickly. Everything is laid out in a very clear way, and one of the features I really love about this thing is the built-in drum machine. It really allows you to get your parts locked in rhythmically, and it just makes it a great practice tool. So this video isn't really going to be an in-depth gear tutorial where I'm going to dive into every feature. For that type of thing, I would head over to Michael's channel. I just want to highlight some things I like about this looper compared to others that I've used and really get into how I use a device like this to practice. So let's jump in and we'll create a loop and then we'll go from there. All right, so I've got a new song selected, and as you can see, all four tracks there say empty. So those are our 4 blank tracks we can record to. Down at the bottom in that purple box it says 8th note rock. That's the drum groove that I've chosen, and I can turn the drums on or off. For right now I'm going to have them on because it really makes it nice for getting the parts locked in time. So next to that is the BPM where it says 86. So I've got a nice little groove. I can play it. You can hear what I've got. And then, I can rehearse what I want to play along to it. So So now that I've got my part worked out, all I have to do is hit the record button. It's going to give me a 1 measure count in, which is super helpful when you're trying to lock these things in rhythmically, to have that count in and then to have that drum groove as support. So I'm going to hit record. I'm going to put this part down, and then we can jump over to the next track and we can play over it. So here we go. So now we've got that recorded, we can go ahead and play over it. I'm going to turn my tremolo off and turn a little boost on. Right, now we get this. So a great, simple little looper. One of the great things about this compared to other loopers is that the record button is a dedicated button, so it doesn't have any secondary functions. When you hit record, there's virtually no latency, which is a problem sometimes with other loopers. Trying to get things synced up and get things locked in rhythmically can be a challenge, especially if you're layering multiple rhythm parts or trying to do live looping. So that's a really nice feature. So now I really want to get into how I use a looper like this in my everyday practice. So those of you that have watched the channel before know that I'm a big advocate of practicing within the context of a song or within the context of a chord progression. And I actually just wrapped up a new course with my buddy Brett Papa where we dive into using songs as a vehicle for practice. But one of the things that's really helpful with a looper is being able to loop chords that you're trying to work out ideas over and just repeating them over and over again in rhythm so you can practice your phrases and connecting lines together. And it's really great with longer chord progressions to be able to break them down into smaller chunks and loop little pieces. So I'm going to clear the track that we just made, and I'm going to change my drum groove. I'm actually going to go to a 12/8 ballad feel, and let's play a little bit of that. Okay. I'm going to speed that up a little bit. I think that's a good tempo. So we're going to play like a little Ray Charles gospel chord progression over this groove. 2, 3. So let's say I am practicing a tune like that. Now that's kind of a longer form. It's got a lot of chords to it. So, as I'm working on that, there's certain sections I may want to break down and work on. For instance, those first 3 chords where I'm going from E flat major to G7 to C minor. I may want to just work out a bunch of ideas to navigate through those chords because they're a little bit tricky if you're new to that sort of thing. There's some specific chord tones that need to be addressed. So I would use a looper to just loop those 3 chords, and having that drum machine there to kind of keep me rhythmically accountable is super useful. So I would just record that. I've got that looped to practice over. right? So I can loop that little section of that tune and just work out different phrases, work around how I'm going to navigate from E major up to G major. I'm going to target the chord tones of those chords and then get myself to C minor. And when I'm practicing things like that, I'll usually have the loop queued up, but then I'll sit here and I'll kind of work out different ideas that might work. In this case, a lot of times I'll look at arpeggios. So I may be looking at, E major chord, or E flat major chord shape right here, and looking at that arpeggio, and then seeing how that connects to a G7 in the same position, and then a C minor 7 in that position, and maybe work out little things to play. Right, and then I'll kind of find some things that maybe I like, and then I'll start the looper and go, well, let me see if I can make that fit over the chords with the groove. So I'll play a similar thing now. Right, so you can see how having the chords there as a backdrop and having the rhythm there really helps with trying to lock in that phrasing. If you're just sitting here kind of playing these things free of time, you can come up with nice lines, but you don't really know if they're going to necessarily work and fit into the pocket of the groove. So I'll do a lot of things like that. I can take different positions. I may take this E flat position combined with this G7 and this C minor, and play things kind of out of that position and see how that all fits together. And I just mess around with different things and sort of find lines and ways to connect the chords together, and then I can put the looper on and see how it comes together. Right, so those are all things that I've kind of practiced and worked out from doing this sort of exercise, looping chords and just messing around with different positions of the arpeggios and then combining that together with blues phrases and things that are stylistically appropriate to the music. So now we can move on to the next part of the chord progression, which in this case is a 2-5-1 going to the 4 chord. So I may just loop a 2-5-1 going to A flat major, B flat minor, E flat 7 or E flat 9 going to A flat 7. I can just loop that over the groove and work out different ideas to play over that. So let's try that. Over this, and I can look at these chord shapes and look at the corresponding arpeggios and see what I come up with. fact, I'll stop it first and I'll look at the arpeggios. So if I'm playing in this position, I might play a B flat minor 7 right there, and then an E flat 7 right there, and then an A flat 7 right there. And then I can, think about how quickly the chords are moving and try different things out. So I might play to start out. Something like that. Let's try that out. Let's see how that sounds over it. One more time. Change that one note a little bit. And I can mess with the phrasing. So that type of thing, just taking a simple idea and morphing it around. And, in the beginning, you may play a few, flubs or mistakes, or there may be some note choices that are a little ugly that you want to change. But you just have that, nice relaxed opportunity to kind of work things out. And you can even stop the loop and take time to look at what you're doing. So now, I can start combining that together with what I played previously. So, right, that kind of thing. And then, I'm tying together a whole solo for this whole chord progression, right? And then we go to the sharp 4. This is, the next chord in the progression, and then we have kind of the turnaround section. So I'll loop the whole chord progression now. I'm going to put a little tremolo on the pedal board, turn the boost off, and let's loop the whole thing, and then I'll play a little bit over it and kind of talk about what I'm doing. So really easy to get that synced up in time by having that drum groove there and then having that dedicated record button that's really quick, when you hit it. There's no latency. So now, let's play over this a little bit. right, so all that is stuff I've practiced and worked out to some extent over, playing over loops like this. I used to spend hours sitting in the practice room with just a little looper and my amp, just cycling chord progressions over and over again, working out different ways of navigating through those chord changes. And it's really a great tool when you're trying to play longer, more complex chord progressions. We've got a lot of twists and turns and a lot of chords that need specific addressing. It's really helpful to have that backing track there, to keep you accountable rhythmically and harmonically. And so, nowadays I use, my DAW and record in the computer. And many of you that follow the channel or subscribe to my Patreon know about the backing tracks that I make, which are a great practice tool that go along with these lessons specifically. But it's also a great thing to have some ability to record yourself. The teleport is certainly, in my opinion, sort of in a category of its own as a looper that I've experienced. It's the most easy to use in terms of getting a good quality recording and having that drum machine in there, having the count in leading into when you record is super useful. So check out the teleport. I'll put Michael's links down in the description. He's a great guy. He's been super helpful to me building up this channel. So I wanted to return the favor and support what he's doing because he's a fantastic person. Check out what he's doing over on his page. Look at the links down in the description. I've got the new course coming out any day now with Brett talking about playing over tunes like I just played over, using songs as a vehicle for practice, playing over changes, all kinds of concepts like triads and arpeggios and scales and chord substitutions and modes of melodic minor and all that fun stuff. So keep a lookout for that. And until next time, take care and happy practicing.